9188.
Beechwood Rectory Connection. Hello, this is Energy UMDA VC.
I'm Larry LeBlanc. I have an appointment with somebody from your office, I think, at 10 minutes to 3 in my classroom, and nobody's here.
Give me a second while I look into this.
Dominic, do you hear me?
Hey, Professor. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, thank you.
This is for tomorrow. Do you want me to send someone right now?
Yes,
Okay, I'll have someone up there in a second, okay?
thank you, bye. God damn. Dominic, Pete, do you see my screen? Talk to me.
We can see it.
You can see it, okay, thank you. That was quick, thank you.
Yeah, what's going
I'm
on?
not sure what I want to do is doable.
Okay,
I'm on Zoom.
okay,
I'm not using this computer yet.
okay,
They see me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna switch to another workbook and continue here, and then I'm gonna switch to a third workbook.
Okay.
Which this does not support. I need to switch to this, but I'm using Zoom from here.
right,
I don't know how to do that.
okay. So what we'll do is, so we're gonna join this Zoom from this Zoom. I'm just gonna go, I'm not gonna sign in, I'm just gonna go join meeting. And get
That's beyond my understanding.
Yeah, sorry, I got it for you.
Unfortunately, I have to do this for a couple of days and 3 days in a row.
So why isn't that one compatible with,
Doesn't have Excel 365.
oh, I see.
And I did not notice the appointment was made for the wrong day. so-
Yeah, that's all right.
I haven't plugged this in yet. I don't see a cord here for that. Plugs in here. I don't think this is good.
Does it reach? Yeah.
Is that the cord?
Yeah.
That's not where I plug it in for my other one. When I go upstairs to my office, I plug it into here. and I
Yeah.
plug it in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, both work, whatever you got on here.
All right. I think I'm almost ready. If I go to my laptop, Podium PC,
Yep,
laptop,
yep, and then it automatically goes HDMI.
I don't know that. What's HDMI?
It's this cable, I just like.
I don't know that. I'm
So-
not very on that. Then what do I do?
Okay, so you're up here. So now to share from this one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna enable sharing.
I don't understand.
I feel like it's just like you're the host. You're the host, right?
Yes. But I'm not ready to start this.
Okay, that's fine. We don't have to.
Can you stay with me?
Yeah.
I can't hate to ask you that. It's an
Um,
hour and a half class, then the section repeats. This is beyond my capability. I'm
let
afraid.
me, yeah, let me,
For about an hour, I won't need this computer.
okay.
Which one are they looking at? Did we switch it? I have no idea. how to answer that.
So you're still sharing this screen. So we have two different things going on here. So you're sharing this screen. But you're showing this screen on the projector.
You took the son speak to me in Greek. I don't want you to laugh. It's time for me to go. I don't know how to get to my Zoom settings. I want to ask the students if they can see this.
Okay,
Why is that right there?
so I joined the Zoom on this computer, so we could share the screen. It doesn't look like that's gonna work.
I don't know what's gonna work. Can someone be here at 4 o'clock?
Sure, yes.
Thank you.
And then
Time to start.
they should be able to hear you, right?
I guess they should be. I don't even know where to go to my participants. That's not right. Actually, I want to see the pictures of them.
So go hover there and then you can do those.
Why? Dominic, you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
No, I'm not able to.
Yeah,
And I object to being asked to teach a class with this type of. My software is not on here. Peter, really, you hear me?
Yep, hear you just fine.
yeah. I'll be back at 4.
Okay. You'll be back and forth.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir. Yep.
Let's open up dynamic array one, no, not that one. Where were we before? Advanced sum product 1, 2, abbreviated like that. Let's review a little bit. The leftmost sheet, motivated. Prototypically, we are given a rectangular array of data with labels along the top and/or labels along the left, possibly 2 sets of labels, as this example here is. equals the sum product, open parentheses, of course, close parentheses, of course, minus logical tests. B22 to B31, those are customer numbers. Those are labels. B to G31 equals 103, hard coding only for teaching. Star, C to G21 equals Joe. Star, C to G31, the rectangular, C22 to G31, the rectangular range of data. Let's see if you're ready to work an in-class problem. Class 7. 2 questions. In F7, find the total commissions from network C, that of course refers to C7, for Macy's. And I ask you to reference C7 and D7. Oops, not that big. I am referring to these dates, these merchants, these networks. A, Sears paid us $11,000 from network A, and later $17,000 from network A. Nordstrom paid us $38,000. Let me give you a moment to complete that formula in F37. Equals sum product, that's what we're studying now, open parentheses. Anybody want to suggest how I start? Network C from Macy's, total commissions. Somebody get me started, please. Would it include the 11? No, because that's Sears, that's not Macy's. I'll do the first one. H14 to H53 equals, now I've made an intentional mistake, equals B15. And it says 0. Whenever I use this logical test, I definitely need I definitely need it in parentheses. At the very least, I need it in parentheses. H15 to H53 equals B15. Where did I get B15 from? B7. All right, without the minus, I got the wrong answer. The answer is not 0. That is wrong, but it's insidious because it does not tell me I've made an error. I need the minus. I need the parentheses. I have minus without parentheses. I have no minus, and I get the wrong answer. No stated error, but the wrong answer. That's even worse. I need minus parentheses. That's okay. Now, you've heard me use the divide and conquer expression before. I'm answering a preliminary version of the question. I have so far asked, how many times do you get Macy's? I've counted the commissions from Macy's. I intend to expand this. Minus, minus, these are labels. Sears, Nordstrom, Walmart's, Macy's. These are trues and falses. Minus, minuses means I have a bunch of ones for every true. Every true is converted to 1, and every false is converted to 0. So I have 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. It's telling me there are 6 sales from Macy's. Now, that's just the zeros and ones. Star, I really like to line this stuff up. Alt enter, star. Let me do an alt enter. That is the close parentheses for the sum product. Star, now I need network A. I13 through M13. Equals C7. And again, I don't have the minus minus. There were 6 sales by network C for Macy's. Finally, I need the rectangular range of numbers. Star I14. Oh, with a jagged edge, it stops before it gets there. What I'm going to do is just look away and press the down arrow until I go too far down. I'm in row 1,000,000. Then press the up arrow. And now I've got the rectangular range of data calculated. Enter. 84 is correct, but it needs some explanation. I see some puzzled faces. Let me line it up. Oh, I'd like to line it up like this. Clearly, what I'm doing right now is not required, but it's a little bit easier for me anyway. Personal style gets into here. Equals sum product open, close. Minus, minus, these labels equal D7. That is Macy's. Star, these other labels equal C7. That is network C. Star, the rectangle. If you want, you can put the rectangular range of data in parentheses. That never hurts. If you want, you can put minus, minus in front of the rectangular range of data. It's not necessary. But if you like to simplify, what you have to remember, minus, minus, open parentheses in front of every argument. I'll do it. It's not necessary. Minus, minus, open. This last argument is purely numbers. Minus, minus the number, that's utterly unnecessary, but it's easy to remember. Probably this is overkill to line up the parentheses. $84,000 is the answer. The sum product of these labels equal Macy, that's column H, star. These labels equal C, that is row 13, right in here. Let me color those. I don't like to say here. The next color is yellow, gold there. So the middle argument is the gold cells equal C7. Star the rectangular array of data. Next, I ask you to populate the upper left blue cell, Macy's B. I'm gonna make a copy of what I have and fine tune it to change to what I want. This is personal style, Control C. Now watch me, please. I cannot, oops. I forgot to hit escape. Control C, escape. This is now an intentional error. I cannot paste it to the cell. I'll paste it where I'll pretend I'm gonna mess up my shading. I cannot do that. Because I had the Alt Enter, let me undo. I want to paste it, I want to activate the cell, but I cannot paste it yet. I have to activate the formula bar and then paste it because I had Alt Enter in it. If I copy this, it puts this in one cell and this in the next row and this in the next row. Let me illustrate the error again. I certainly cannot copy it like this. You see the moving marquee? That's not going to work. If I paste it, the cell references will adjust, and I don't want them to adjust. No problem. I'll just copy it like this. Control C, escape, activate the cell, and if I mistakenly paste, that's not the end of the world. I'm reminded visually, oops, it pasted to 3 successive cells. So I undo. I activate the cell where I want it. I activate the formula bar, Control V. I find that shortcut to be helpful. Now let's fine tune it. The rectangle, I think, doesn't need changing at all. I14 to M53 doesn't need changing. H14 to 53 equals not D7, but B15. Star, I to M13 equals not C7, but C14. 200,000 is correct. The sum product open, close, minus the labels in column H equals B15, that's Macy's, star. The labels in row 13, IM 13 equals C4, star. And to test your understanding, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to remove the minus and the parentheses from the rectangular array of data. The minus parentheses are required around logical tests. The sum product with criteria is the other name for this worksheet function. With criteria, it's quicker to say advanced. So people often say advanced. 200 is correct. We're almost finished. I just need to adjust the cell referencing. The rectangle is fully absolute. I'll put all 4 dollar signs with a single keystroke, F4 or Command T. The H14 to H53 is fully absolute, F4. The I13 to M13 is fully absolute. Press enter, make sure I didn't make a syntax error. And now all I've got is the tricky part, B15 and C14. Work on that for me. Is any absolute referencing needed around B15? Absolute B. What about the 15? Yes, relative. How about the C? Any absolute referencing needed? Correct. About the 14? Yes. I think that's ready to go. Double click the fill handle to pull it down. Drag it right. Lower right corner, 575. Those numbers are correct. So we're done this one. You take a minute. Joe Cavici, you hear me okay? Joe Cavici, you hear me okay?
Yes, I do. Sorry about that.
Rachel Watts, you hear me? Emma McNeil, you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Allison Taylor?
I hear you.
Okay. Let me do another one and then we'll work the next in-class problem. To factory A, I'm in sheet 8, some product with logic. Vendors A and B and C and D and so forth are rated late deliveries. In the year 2017, vendor A had 1 late delivery, but 3 late deliveries in 2018. 3, 2, and 1 in the subsequent years. Vendor A had defects, on-time delivery of defective products. These are the numbers for the years 2017, 18, 19. Vendor B, late time deliveries and defects. Vendor C, D, etc., E, all for factory 1. Factory 2, we have similar numbers. Take a moment and understand what's going on there. Let's look at the single formula in K16, which copies down and to the right. I want, of course, vendor A. I want the sum of the late deliveries. I want the sum of the defects, the sum of the on-time deliveries. Vendor B, vendor C, vendor D, and vendor E. I've got 4 rows. Make sure your formula bar is big enough for you to see it. The entire formula. That is not the formula. There's a 4th row. Sum product open, minus, minus. B9 to B1000. I want to expose you to that. That's common practice to accommodate room for future records. But it's wasting a lot of space. And there's a real danger if I type accidentally some stray data in row 500 or 600, I could ruin this formula. What's a more professional way than to allow for future growth? You think about that while I continue to explain. The sum product of the labels in B9 to B1000, that is the vendor, A, B, C, D, including these empty ones. As long as they're empty, it doesn't hurt too much, equals J16. That is A. J16 is A. So in K16, the sum product of B9 to B1000 equals J16, that's vendor A. Star C9 to 1000 equals K14. My balloon is in the way. K14. Is late deliveries. Star D, 8 to H8. I'm referring to these numerical labels in row 8. The year is not a number to be added, it's a label. Greater than or equal to H7. H7 is the year 2019. So I will get a 0 for the year 2017, a 0 for the year 2018, and a 1 for the years 2019, 2020, and 2021. That may be the first greater than or equal to you've seen in the sum product with criteria. Start the rectangle D delta 9 through H1000. We do not need the parentheses there. I include them to pretend like I was confused about the rules. 10 late deliveries. Notice we have the sum product of a rectangle, a row, and a column. You cannot do that with the sum if or the sum ifs. We have not seen the sum ifs, but we've seen the sum if. You can't do it with the sum if. It can be done this way. Fully absolute labels. B9 to B1000, fully absolute. C9 to C1000, fully absolute. D8 to H8, fully absolute. Rectangle of numbers, D9 to H1000, fully absolute. Always J16, relative K14, always H, always 7, referring to the threshold year, deliveries since. That copies down and to the right. Copies down so that we now get late deliveries for vendors B, C, D, E. And defects for vendors B, C, D, E. Actually, A, buried under my warning. Ignore error. And on-time deliveries for B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E. Check that formula, please. Let's go ahead and append the new records. Let's select the entire range, J32 through Q36. I'm going to right click it and drag it to A36 and choose move here. Now, because I've told it to go to row 1000, these are included, and here are your new numbers. I'm going to undo and redo. I undid the move. 10, 10, 6, 14, 11. Redo. I used to have 10, 10, 6, 14, 11. The yellow and the orange updated. I'll use large font. The 28 and the 24 updated to include the new records. You do not need to know this array expansion and explanation. You just need to know how to work the problems. If you're curious, we could talk about it outside of class, but for this course, for homework, for exams, you don't need to know the array expansion. Let me give you 3 minutes to study that. Let's work the next in-class problem. I usually have questions like this on the exam. I consider the sum product with criteria, also known as the advanced sum product, to be one of the more important topics in the course. So please work B6 for me. Looking at the given data, in J, we have the divisions, hematology, ophthalmology. The doctor, the months, January through December, and the billings. I would like you to populate B6, just turned it yellow. Cardiology billings for December. You will notice that these months are not in the same order as those months. Do I have a volunteer? How do I check the data for cardiology? Do I have a volunteer? You can give me the first part of it, any part of it.
Something about it.
I didn't hear you.
Something about it.
Yes. Hopefully you can give me more than that.
No, minus.
Followed immediately by an open parentheses. Minus implies you need the parentheses, or else it will just check the first cell in the criterion. Go.
Absolute of
Let me pretend that's too much for me.
J6 through the rest.
What about it?
Is absolute or equals all the way back up, whatever is in question.
Right, A6. And if I press enter, it'll tell me I don't have enough closed parentheses. And it filled them in for me. That says 9 occurrences of cardiology. You get a bunch of zeros and 1 here, you get 9 ones. The $ format is inappropriate for this preliminary version of the answer. If I really wanted to count cardiology, I would format it without the $. All right, that's very good. New line, my style is new line. What comes next? I want to make sure the month is December. So what do?
Minus.
Star,
Star, minus.
open. Go,
The months, January through.
okay. Equals, close. It didn't put the parentheses in the right place for me. You see that? It put this one. Look at this. It put 2 parentheses there. I don't want that one. Excel guessed wrong. Still says 9. Star the rectangle. Alt enter. Star. Let me press enter and see what Excel suggests. Suggest value. Wow. Open, close. This one I don't want. That one I do want. 40,000 is correct. That's too narrow. $40,000 is the answer for the first one. Let me clean up the formula. That's my style. Maybe, oops. Maybe that would be better. The rectangle is fully absolute. The labels are fully absolute. The left-hand side of the equal sign, oops, is fully absolute. $sign A6. $sign 5. The sum product of column J equals A6 cardiology star, row 5 L through W equals December star the rectangle. Take a minute to review that. Let's go back to sheet 8. I promised you I would suggest an alternative way other than B9 through B1000. And the danger of what I said was, suppose the secretary says, call Eric. Eric's the dean. His phone number is, his extension, let me just write. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I've corrupted my answers because I put numbers in row 43. I'm adding up all these numbers above. So that's the danger of this approach. But it is done in practice, and I want you to see an example. Better would be to use a table so that when you append the new records, the table will expand accordingly to accept them. And the formulas will adjust because the formulas reference the table columns. Let me stop and review the entire book. I started with sheet 1, motivate advanced sum product. Really and truly, you can skip that sheet unless you need the motivation, but it contains no new material. I mean, everything in this sheet is duplicated in the other sheets, so that in that sense, you can skip it. Robust design, even IBM acknowledges that spreadsheets are error prone. And I published a paper on reducing spreadsheet risk. This was the prominent theme in the paper, using the sum product with criteria. You can skip that sheet if you already believe that it's important. Arrays, the only thing that's important in sheet arrays is this that I just turned yellow. That's Excel's way of talking about a rectangular array. The double minus sign, if you already know that, you don't need to read this sheet. If you don't know what the double minus sign does, then you should skim this sheet. Summary, you certainly need to know this sheet. The formula we have been using is the equivalent of K21. The sum product of the reps equals Joe, star of the month equals February, star of the rectangle of numbers. You gotta know how to work the problems. Sheet 5, 50 states is important. It's an example. Sheet 6, you ought to understand the concepts. But if you can do the 2 in-class problems, sheet 7 in class and sheet 9 in class, you're really in good shape. Then the green sheet at the far right talks about array expansion, but I already said you don't have to know the details of that. We could talk about it outside of class if you like. Let me give you a few minutes to review this sheet. This book. Looking at the class pack, page 31, we just finished the advanced sum product. You said you need to know how to work the problems. We'll go to classic filtering next. And this is brand new material. I won't necessarily finish this in the order that I planned a few months ago. Then we'll look at dynamic array worksheet functions, spilling, sorting, and sort by, unique, and the spill range operator. Let's go on to filtering. I think you'll find it a little bit easier. Filtering, standard form, just like a pivot table, single row of field titles. Microsoft recommends an Excel table, but a range with standard form is fine. We want to do things like showing vendors in Tennessee only with scores of 80 or above and purchases of at least 900,000. Auto filter, advanced filter, 2 different forms of the advanced filter. Extracting the records to a separate range is 1 form. Auto filter adds drop-down arrows, much like a table does. You select 1 cell in the range and click on the funnel, data tab, the funnel. I'll illustrate that in practice. Advanced filters have a criteria range which is visible in the sheet. The criteria that you set for the filtering are not buried in a closed dialog box. For example, I want to see all records with the state of any state, the country, not United States, at least 400,000 in purchases. And if the country is United States, at least 100,000 in purchases. Let's open shell filter the Excel workbook. Shell filter data. It would help to have a view of the class pack, because when we filter, we're going to hide rows and the instructions are going to disappear. I could not insist that you print it because the COVID virus can live on paper. All right, so once again, the ID number, the name of the vendor, our contacts at that vendor. If we have a problem with Agrium, we need to call Jane Ashwani, no middle name. Our purchases this year, the address, city, state, and country, and zip, postal code, I should say. Our score given to the vendor for past purchases, the phone number of the guy we contact if we need to change the order. Notice we have an empty row at the top and an empty column at the right. I separated my notes from the data, so Excel would not think the range to filter or make a pivot table or sort or whatever. We should not include these labels, our score, our purchases this year, our vendor contacts. That's not part of the filter. All right, sort by vendor name. Select one cell in the range of data, data tab, look for the funnel filter. It puts drop-down arrows. Look at row 10 as I toggle on and off the auto filter arrows. Sort by vendor name. Drop down the arrow, sort A to Z. I did not say how to sort. Ascending would be the usual default. It puts the numerical ones, 3D, 3M, remember numbers before text, maybe you remember that, it doesn't matter. This is the sorted form. Let's now sort by ID number. Sort smallest to largest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leave it in that form, please, so that when we work the next problems, you'll get the same answer as I do. Otherwise, the order will be scrambled. Show vendors in Tennessee only with scores of 80 or above and purchases of at least 900K. Drop down arrow by state. Deselect all. Scroll down or type a T to get near the T states, Tennessee and Texas, and click OK. I selected only Tennessee. And you'll notice that my text box got crushed. At least I could find it. It's going to disappear after some of these other ones. We had many states here. Row 10 is the titles. 11 and 12 are hidden because they're not Tennessee. 13 is Tennessee. The next Tennessee is 3, 13. Well, let me not read the ID numbers. Let me read the row numbers. Row 13 is Tennessee. Then the next row with Tennessee is 23, 26. The other rows are hidden. Let's go on. Show vendors in Tennessee with scores of 80 or above. I don't want to look at this 61, 62, and 40. I want to see scores of 80 or above. Drop down arrow by score. I could select only the ones I want to see and deselect the others, but that's impractical in a large example. So let's go with number filters. Greater than or equal to. I asked for 80 or above. Greater than or equal to 80. Okay. And now we're looking only at the scores 80 or bigger. Tennessee. I further ask for purchases of at least 900,000. I don't want to see all these little ones. I don't think I'm gonna be, well, let's talk out loud. First of all, I forgot your name.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
First of all, I forgot your name. Say your name.
Colin.
Colin, yes. All right. I think in the future, I should use only the laptop
Okay,
and not even use the podium computer, even though the podium computer has a bigger and more friendly keyboard and a larger screen.
sure.
I'll just pretend it doesn't exist.
And use laptop.
Only, yes.
Okay,
But what can I do? I have another section at 5 o'clock, actually.
okay.
I could go with only the laptop for that section.
Yeah, we can switch over.
But I'm not ready to switch. I had to take a wild guess. Do you have another 15 to hang around?
Sure.
All right, I appreciate it, Colin.
I did put a request in to have 365 installed on this.
So did I, but the context is remote people, I hope you can hear me. We get guest speakers in here from time to time. And they have some incompatibility with 365.
Okay.
All right, and I just found out the Owen School is closed for 15 months, starting in May.
Yeah,
And I truly won't, well, let me know.
yeah. I'll be back in 15. Is
Okay, thank
that
you.
right?
Yes, 15,
Okay.
please, punctual.
Got it.
Thank you, Colin.
Yep.
All right, where was I? I've already done 80 above, purchases at least 900,000, drop down the arrow. Same thing, number of filters, greater than or equal to 900, it's okay to type the comma, 900,000. And 3 records satisfy the conditions, Diageo, Entercom, and Penn, Virginia, in that order, unless you sorted previously and left the sort. I chose this example so it would be pretty easy for you to confirm. You either got or you did not get Diageo, Entercom, and Penn, Virginia. More commonly, of the thousands of records, hundreds would pass the test. But it's pretty hard for you to confirm that you got the right 700. Auto filters. I'll press the clear button, which will unhide everything that's hidden. I could have individually gone to the score and cleared that, individually gone to the purchases, individually cleared the states, but I might forget one, so I hit the clear button. Mac students, do you have a clear button? You do, okay. That was not true in the past. FYI, if you're talking to somebody with a 2016 Mac, equivalent to the clear is turn the filter on and off. Just real quick, double click of the filter button. When you turn the filter off, the auto filter off, it unhides everything in the process, then turn it right back on. All right, next one, you do it. I'll wait 60 seconds. I want to see Kentucky or Tennessee with scores no larger than 15. State, deselect all, type a K, which gets me to Kansas. I want Kentucky or Tennessee, type a T if you like, or just scroll T. You can press enter. Yes, you must. Now we have Tennessee and Kentucky only. I want scores no larger than 15. I want to look at the poorer performing ones. I don't want to see all of these. Scores. Diesel number filters less than or equal to 15. please select all the vendor names that are visible in column B and look at the taskbar. It should display 17. 17. The order I get is Molycorp, Nucor, Landauer through Spansion Inc. Let's turn the filter off. A disadvantage of auto filters is that the criteria are hidden, invisible in closed dialog boxes. I told you I selected Kentucky and Tennessee with scores no larger than 15. Maybe I typed 14 by mistake. Maybe I made a typo. Let's look at an advanced filter, which is a little more difficult, but a little less error prone. Auto filters are quick and handy. Let's put the criteria in a separate range. I need a total of 3 copies of the field names. A10 through M10 I start with. And I need verbatim copies, not case sensitive, but a leading or trailing blank would destroy everything. So clearly I copied and pasted rather than retyped. You need at least the criteria range. And you might also need the extract range. Advanced filter 2. Vendors with scores of 99 or greater for Tennessee, Mississippi, or Alabama. I'm going to write, it's not case sensitive. TN, MS, AL. You can barely see that. Let me use a darker color. I just entered TN, MS, Alabama. Of course, I have to abbreviate them exactly the way they occur. Not case sensitive, but very sensitive to leading or trailing blanks. With scores of 99 or bigger. I'm going to select the 3 cells at once, type greater than or equal to 99, Control Enter. And I think I'm going to highlight in the same color the field titles to emphasize that you absolutely must include the field titles in your criteria range. So the first step is to produce the criteria. The criteria range is going to be this orange range. It has to be contiguous. I think my computer needs rebooting. I want to make that orange. I'm not in the middle of a dialog box, am I? I have a feeling I'm frozen, but let's keep going. Data tab, advanced. Not filter, advanced. And my computer is totally hung up. Let me close. Excel and reopen it. It's like a dialog box was open in another instance of Excel. Okay, I think things are better. Select a cell in the data, not in the criteria. Data tab, advanced. Confirm the list range, A10 through M 1241. If you don't know that, cancel, scroll down, confirm, and check it. Criteria range. Let me give it this. Watch me, please, don't type yet. That would be okay. An empty cell means any city, state of Tennessee, any country, any zip, score greater than or equal to 99. I would also like to see any cities, Mississippi, any country, any zip, at least 99. Suppose I gave it that. That would fail. Because that would say I want to also see any city, any state, any country, any zip. It would do no filtering. I'll select, including the field titles, I1 through L4. I'll print screen. And those 5 are your answer: Mettler, Snap-on, Gildan, Standard, and EMC. Last problem says use an advanced filter to show that my dialog box is gone, my text box is gone. Let's clear it and see if my text box reappears. Yes, it did. Show vendors in Illinois or Indiana with purchases, blah, blah, blah. So let's go with Illinois and Indiana. ILIN. Clear that. I don't want any conditions on the score. With purchases of at least 600,000. Greater than or equal to. Control Enter. And just for your attention, I'm going to color what the criteria range is. That's the criteria range. I'm going to extract it. Data, advanced. List range, A10 to M1241, yes. Criteria range, I1 to L4, that's not correct. I have to reset it. F1 to I3. Choose the option copy to another location. Confirm the copy to the green cells. I don't want to extract the ID number. I don't have to. I don't want to extract the address, city, state, and so forth. Okay. And there are 3 records: CorMax, Hormel, and Homeback. Again, smalls to facilitate your testing of it. Let me give you a few minutes to review this. Only what I've discussed is testable. Is that you, Colin, in the back?
Sir,
All right, this is a good breaking point. Continue to work on this for a minute. what shall I do? Shall I close down the Excel files on the Podium PC?
Yeah, so we're just gonna totally leave that guy.
I can do whatever I want on the Podium PC, right?
Yeah, and then you can stop share there and I'll basically just start the Zoom here.
And to make sure I don't use this or this.
And then,
The same recording, same zone.
yep. And then.
I have the one book open. I had the foresight to open the one book that I thought I would need.
Okay,
Don't have it open. I saved it. Anyone will be fine. Open desktop. At this point, I don't know that I have access to the faculty public network. This is the one I want. Samuel Monroe, are you there? Charlie Wagner, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Charlie Wagner? Do you see
Yep,
my,
can you hear me?
yes, do you see my screen?
I cannot.
I'm gonna take over for you.
I need to go to share screen, right?
Yes, sir.
And I don't see the icon.
So you can hit that. It just makes it like small for some reason. And then
Now, what's
you're
this?
good. So these are both in the same Zoom. So you're sharing the screen. This is basically just a participant now. So you're seeing what the participants see here.
Okay,
And we can X out of that if you want to, if it makes it easier, whatever you need to.
I don't think so. Let me find the workbook. I just opened it. Dynamic arrest. Turn this off for a moment.
Yeah.
Joe Cavici, you there?
Still here.
Do you see my Excel screen?
Yes, I do.
All righty. Thought I had changed to dynamic array. This one. All right, are you gonna still be here? My class ends at 4:30. I'd like to set up one more time. I don't know how to get the other files here.
Okay.
Can I please see you at 4:30?
I can see, so I'm out at 4:30. I can see if my coworker Ian can assist you at 4:30. He's here until 5.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, no problem.
All right, spelling. Read sheets 1, 2, 3, and 5 before class. Spelling and spilled arrays formulas, new to Office 365. This is the new counterpart of array worksheet functions that you may have heard of, Control Shift Enter. Maybe you didn't hear of them, that doesn't matter. This is the new way to do it. Excel formulas. A formula is a worksheet function, along with optionally plus this, minus that, divided by this, star that. One example of a formula is equals the sum of this. That's a single worksheet function. I'm torn between whether to call it an Excel worksheet function that return a set of values or whether to call it a formula. A set of values, also known as an array, return these values to neighboring cells immediately beneath and sometimes to the right. This is called spilling. Formulas that can potentially return arrays of values, arrays of variable size, are called dynamic array formulas. If they're currently spilling, they're called spilled array formulas. Spilling means the formula has resulted in multiple values, and those values have been placed beneath and possibly to the right. For example, A1 to A40 has an unsorted range. And in B31, we have the dynamic array spilled function sort of A31 to A40. Here's an image of the original data. 40, 50, 10, etc. Before I wrote the sort worksheet function, this was all empty. Oh my goodness, wrong keyboard. Equals sort of any range of data, close parentheses. And that is a worksheet function that updates. It spilled to the bottom. It did not spill to the right in this case. Let me change the 60 to 999, like my cell note says, and these rearrange. It's a worksheet function that updates. You still should know how to do a basic sort. You know what copy paste special values is? Let me hold that thought. The sort worksheet function. I did not have to copy it down and paste it. It automatically spills. Equals SORT, open parentheses. I give it a range, not including the field titles. Close parentheses, I have selected 10 cells. Therefore, the answer has 10 cells. If you sort 10 cells, you're going to get 10 cells. It spills down. Let's look at what happens if there's no room to spill. I have the same formula in G31 as I had in C31. There's no room to put the information. So if I delete, let me make an intentional mistake. Let me mistakenly think I'm deleting enough space. And it still gives me a spill error. All right, let's delete some more. Still a spill error. Spill, delete, and finally there's room to accommodate the entire answer, therefore it successfully spills. It would be misleading if it showed you only part of the answer. So it will show you nothing other than spill error if it can't show you the entire answer, because there's something in the way. Delete it, copy paste it elsewhere, whichever. This is called spilling. Spilling means that a formula is resulted in, for example, you enter the formula once and it automatically populates down. You do not have to copy and paste it. Spilled array formulas are not supported in tables. They must be placed outside of the table. Tables are best for holding rows and columns of data. Only the first cell of the spill range can be edited. If you select another cell in the spill range, you see the formula, but it's ghosted and cannot be changed. Let's illustrate that. C31 contains equals sort. C32, a little bit later. I cannot edit it. I can see it. I'll then get a spill error. If you want to edit the spilled array function, you have to edit the top left one. Only the top left one. The others are ghosted out. If there's anything blocking even part, nothing will be shown. This is important because it would be misleading. In this case, you get the spill error. Optional different workbooks, limited support. Let's go to the next sheet, the sort worksheet function. In gray, I have the given data, like in a linear program. That's not really required outside of a linear program, but that's what I used in this example. Given data, the sales rep, Claire, Charles, David, Deb, etc., the item sold, and the dollar sold. Let's look at the arguments of the sort worksheet function. It has 4 arguments. Of course, you have to tell it what you're sorting. Of course you do. equals sort of array. In brackets means optional. Sort index, which column do you want to sort it by? You can default that and it will sort by the leftmost column. Or in my previous example, if there's only one column, you can default it. Sort index, optional, a column or row number to sort by. To sort by the second columns, use 2. If omitted, it sorts by 1, the leftmost column. Let me mention in passing, not important for the course, very rarely your records are in columns, not testable. The first record is Sue. She sold B $95. The second record, Al sold D as in Delta 51, et cetera, et cetera. The last record, Bob sold C 53. You could sort those columns. That's highly unusual. I won't come back to that in this course. Sort index, optional. A column or row, number to sort by. I already did that. Order, optional. 1 is ascending, -1 is descending. That's the term used for numbers. If it's a text field, 1 means increasing alphabetical order, means alphabetical order. -1 means reverse alphabetical order. By column, the final argument, if you specify that, then to sort the columns, true equals source. True equals sort the columns, which you almost never want to do. So omit the fourth argument for this course anyway. Let's see several examples in practice. Given data. Sort by the default column and order. In F24, let me delete it. I write equals sort, open parentheses, and I give it the entire array without the field titles. Before I press enter, notice I selected 3 columns, B, C, and D. Therefore, it's going to spill not only down, but spill to the right for a total of 3 columns, 2 additional columns. And there's your answer. I entered only F24. I did not copy and paste. It just spilled. Sort by the leftmost column. The first sales rep is Beth. Then comes Bob, then comes Charles, and so forth. I left the other columns unsorted. Sort by the default column. I didn't even say which column to sort from. All right, therefore the leftmost column. Sorted by the default column, reverse order. Sort the array B24 through D, that's 3 columns, B, C, D. I don't tell it which column to sort by. I could, but I defaulted. I didn't say anything as the second argument. Comma, comma means there is no second argument. It sorts by column B. -1 means reverse alphabetical order. Sue is the last sales rep in reverse order. Then Sam, can you confirm that this is reverse order? Sort decreasing. Sort by column 2. Let's look at N24. I would like to clear this. It will do no good to clear anything other than the top left. It doesn't work. Clear the top left, and it clears the whole thing. You don't have to clear it up and down. Equal sort. Let me select this bottom to top. Not that I have to. And let me press enter. That's not what I asked, but let's see how it's going. Yeah, it's going okay. But I don't want to sort it by column 1. I want to sort it by column 2. So I'll correct the formula. All the A's are at the top. Item A, then the B's, then the C's. And I left the sales rep in an unsorted order. Sorting by multiple columns. would like to sort by column 2. Put all the A's at the top and then the B's and then the C's. And then within the A's, sort by column 3. Sort by column 2, all the A's and then column 3. 9,000, 7,600, 7,500, 6,900, 6,700, all the A's till I get to the B's. I don't know why I turned those yellow. I think I just proofread them and marking them means I confirmed it. Then we go to B's and we start over, sorting by the numerical value, leaving the sales rep column unsorted. The syntax is a little strange. Equals sort, open parentheses, the range, B24 to D84, comma. Open curly brace, 2 comma 3 close curly brace. The second argument, the second single argument is column 2 and then column 3. The third argument, comma, and you can put spaces in there. The second column is sorted ascending. The third, within that, the third column is sorted descending. There is a little bit of memorization. 1 means ascending. The default is 1. -1 means descending or equivalently reverse alphabetical order. We sort by column 2 first. So all the item A's are there. Within that sort, we sort by column 3, descending. The biggest sales of A on the top, followed by the smallest sales of A. I think I'm going to break it there. Let me see. Your homework set 4 does contain a sort by. I may have to give an extension on the homework. You coming here to help me? So what did we learn today? We learned old-fashioned filtering. There is a filter worksheet function that'll really impress you, but we haven't gotten to that yet. We got an introduction to spilled array worksheet functions, also called dynamic array functions, also called dynamic array formulas. I think the terminology has not settled down yet. We saw spilling and the sort. We saw classic filtering and we completed the advanced sum product. Okay, today is Wednesday, so technically your next homework assignment is assigned. And I haven't covered the material yet, so don't worry about it. It's the first time I've taught this material in this order. Only the second time that I've taught it and I've completely rewritten it. So thank you for coming. I suppose I should go and turn off this resume. I'm controlling Zoom.
On this one, you can stop recording there.
Oh, man.